Let me just introduce myself on YouTube real quick. Get right back. What's up, YouTubers? Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is Thirsty Thursdays, episode 30. We're here to answer your questions. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. And we are also live on Facebook. So if you like Facebook better, go over to Facebook. We are Majors Academy Dog Training and Rehabilitation. So go ahead and check us out there if you think that's easier. But anyway, cheers. Thank you. Anyway, we'll keep talking about Zeus. But so anyway, when he first came to me, we had probably 2 private lessons before I was like, all right, this guy needs to be board and trained because he's just way too intense. And you know, he really was very close to biting me in the private lessons. And so, you know, typically I don't do private lessons with human aggressive dogs for that reason, for my safety. Because dogs are much more likely to bite you when they're on their home turf. So we decided to do a 6-week because of how intense he was, and you know, so you know, it reinforces the conclusion that some dogs deal with instability by trying to control it, which means in his case, you know, trying to fight, attack, and stuff like that. Because again, like I told you before, he doesn't know that there's another option out there. That's his way of making himself feel safe. It's not because he wants to. And it's not because of anything else other than there's no other thing that he knows how to cope with trying to be safe other than controlling it. Because, you know, also, you know, previous to this, if no one has ever taken control for him, then naturally he's going to do so himself. So that's with Zeus, and that's with actually a lot of dogs who decide to, even I had an evaluation of 2 pit bulls, one of which is what people call game pit bulls. And what they do is, if there's some sort of scuffle or fight that breaks out separate of them, they will go and address go get involved and join the fight. And again, that's their way of trying to make themselves feel better by taking control. I know people can relate to that. So yeah. Oh, we just got a question. Hi Jeremy, I have a female GSD that's fear aggressive with dogs and some humans. Hi Anita. 1 second. Man, this is good. Hinterland's Double Pilsner, Brodenbecker. Check this out. It's good beer. All right, so German Shepherd, fear aggressive, and sorry I didn't finish. Can I do boarding with you? I don't board. I do board and trains. I don't just board dogs, but I do train them. I have to stop taking in dogs that board and train because living in this new house, definitely have to keep my dog numbers to a minimum and specific only for training dogs. So, but anyway, yeah, if you want my help, feel free to contact me. Best way to get a good feel of the situation is to give me a call so I can, you know, learn the dog's age, learn how long you've had it, learn when it began, learn you know, certain situations, if it's on the walks, if it's in the house, if it's both, if it's in the car, whatever. So there's a lot of questions we have to wean out before I sort of guide you on what training program that we'll recommend. But those are just some of the questions that I ask. All right, guys. If anyone who just joined in on YouTube or Facebook, you guys got any dog training questions, shoot them your way. We're going to drink a couple beers and talk dogs and answer some questions. Simple as that. The beard is gone for the summer. Alyssa had to get adjusted to it. She didn't know. She thought I was a total different person. But the beard is gone. I'm sick of it. So I decided to shave it. All right, let's talk about Big Luther. Wait, let me just make sure I got people's questions, because sometimes they don't show them all. So let me Let me make sure I got people's questions here. And then we'll talk about Big Luther some more. I just posted a video up of him with my dogs. And, oh, look, looks like I'm missing some questions here. I live in Chicago, so it needs to be boarded. Sure. Yeah, give me a call. If you live in Chicago, that's okay. Give me a call. I have many people from Chicago, Madison, Minnesota, Michigan. I got people that come from all over. All right. All right. So, okay, let's talk about Mr. Luther. It's extremely dog fearful, right? Okay, so I've had him for 3 days and it doesn't look like he's fearful according to the video, but because he's with my dogs. But that took some time. I took the first 2 days I had with him and immediately decided to see how bad it was with my dogs, who were calm and you know, not invading his space. And so he's quite comfortable with my dogs. He's actually quite playful, you know, wants to play and things like that. He reminds me of my dog, Tobias, or AKA T-Pain. Tobias is a very, I would say, flighty dog. You know, a lot of things scare him pretty easily, and you know, he sort of gravitates towards the people who are nearest to him. So does Luther. The first night I had him, we were outside and it was dark, and he just came, put his body up against me, and sort of as a security thing, gave him a secure feeling. But so anyway, yesterday we took him on a long walk, and there was this dog that was barking very viciously through the fence at us, and I had the doggy don't, which I can't really show you what that is, but look it up, doggy don't. A lot of people are raving about it, but it's just a device, sort of like the pet convincer, but makes a sound like a sound, sort of similar to like a taser, but it's just a sound. There's no electricity. It's just actually a sound when you press a button. And so he started to get into that. What the owner had told me is that when he sees a dog, he gets so worked up, he starts to jump up, and then he decides to turn and bite. And so I had to really have something that got him out of that mindset very quickly. And the doggy don't, given his temperament too, I knew that the doggy don't was going to work really well for him, because he totally looked back at me and was like, what is that? You know, despite this dog just barking his head off. And then he looked at the dog again, and then I did it again, but not as intense, or not as long. I didn't hold the button for as long, and he just kept right along walking with me. So the approach is going to be definitely gaining his trust on the walk. He's a big boy, and sometimes actually he broke out of a prong collar with his owner. So you know, using many different tools to work for you is going to be very helpful when working with dogs that are that big. And sometimes, you know, the prong collar probably won't do much at all to him because he's so strong and so big. So we're going to need the best tools possible in order to get to the same result. Is Whiskey still being stubborn? No, not really. I'll tell you. Let's talk about Whiskey though for a second. Let me take a drink first. This is good beer, man. All right, so talk about Whiskey for a second. Whiskey is very interesting. Whiskey is a dog that I'm currently training. It's June's brother. Whiskey is another Labradoodle, right? And he is very very clingy, right? That's what I would say this dog is. I usually, with all dogs, want to incorporate independence training, right? So what I'll do is I've got a building out in my backyard with two garage doors, and then so my back fenced in yard comes around the garage door, and then the garage door actually has a gate too, so where the dogs can't get in, but I can see the whole yard. Whiskey, you know, if he's out there alone, he will not do anything else but whine and or scratch and try and get back to where I'm at. And I really want to work on his independence in that regard. I want to get him to just relax and enjoy the good weather like a dog should. Go lay down, go enjoy the weather. You know, don't worry about where I'm at, you know. So there's a little bit of a separation anxiety in that regard. I wouldn't even say little, it's a lot. It's pretty extreme. And so stubborn, on the stubborn side of things, you know, when he doesn't, in the beginning, when he didn't want to do anything, he would really try and wake me out to see if I would give up before he would. You know, as far as even just getting him to sit, even getting him to down, you know, all those little just minute things. It took some convincing for Whiskey to actually do it and then be consistent with it. But now we're getting there. You know, we're really, you know, we're really getting, and then it's super important to be able to have that sort of obedience, that level of obedience from your dog. It's going to help out big time when you bring the dog back home and you need the dog to listen. So the dog's going to test to see if, you know, if you actually mean what you say, and if you do, then there will be no protest. But some dogs are going to be more stubborn than others in seeing how far that they can test your patience, and Whiskey's one of them. But he's a good dog still. I mean, I really enjoy him. He's a good dog. I just really like a dog that I can you know, put out in the backyard and they can just be independent and just enjoy the weather, chew on some sticks, whatever they want to do. Okay. All right. Another question. Dozer is back to whining when he's put in his crate at night and when he knows I'm in the house but can't see me. Ignoring it does not seem to stop him. I know you said he didn't whine when he was there. Suggestions? Yeah, I would go back to the e-collar and I would correct him and walk into the room, put him in a down via e-collar, and then walk out, and that should do it. Or if you just want to sit around the couch, and if he starts to whine, tell him to be quiet and then press the button. All right? Be as firm as necessary, as gentle as possible. I mean, as gentle as possible, but as firm as necessary to get him to be quiet, because he knows what to do. He just doesn't want to do it because he's had the training. All right, Kim. Thank you for your question. Let's see. I purchased a mini educator for my dogs. Though, on my GSD puppy, almost 6 months old, it doesn't seem to faze him when I give a correction. The collar seems pretty snug. Any advice? Yes, Zach, my advice would be to see a professional. Before you put on an e-collar on a puppy, first of all, the puppy, you got to be careful with that, first of all. You don't want to, you know, you want to make sure that the e-collar is only for dogs who know what you want from them. You can't teach commands with the e-collar. That's not right, because it can confuse the wrong dog. Or it can confuse the right dog. So I would consult a professional just to make sure you don't have to then work back to something you could have avoided if you sought help from a professional. All right. So there's many factors that go into e-collar training that should be taken into account in order to ensure a smooth transition. And when you're dealing with a puppy, again, they are already all over the place. So being very diligent and careful on what you do and how you do the e-collar is important. Okay? Now that I got that out the way, you may just need to put the longer prongs on. So if it's a German Shepherd dog, it has longer hair, you may just have the short prongs on, and it may not be connecting, or the contacts may not be good enough. But be careful. All right. Thanks for your question. All right. Can you see any of the questions? Because I think I'm missing a few. Let's see here. Placement. Somebody just said placement. Yeah, I think that's it. There's some more. What's up, Rachel? Are you drinking with me? What are you drinking on? She always says hi. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, here you go. Thank you. For those of you who just joined and asked me a question, we are here until 7, answering all and any dog questions that you may have. We were just talking about some of the board and train dogs and how important it is for people to develop independence in their dog. Super, super important. So I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys remember Ray, the bulldog, the American bulldog, but we sent him back home, and this kind of plays into the same role as what I was just talking about. Really asking yourself if your dog actually takes you serious enough. Does your dog, if you say something, does your dog blow you off? Or does your dog actually do what you want him to do? Because that right there is going to keep people safe. It's going to keep your dog from not biting, and it could keep your dog from not fighting other dogs as well. It'll keep your guests safe, and it's a lot more easier to live with dogs if they have that same mindset. So I really put a lot of emphasis on how to get your dog to listen to you, the first 2 times. Sometimes and no more of that. You shouldn't be saying the dog's command 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times for the dog to actually do something. So if my dog doesn't listen to me the first time, then I've got to use a tool, accessible, or I've got to sort of show them that they have to do it, and then they don't try me because they know that I'm just gonna make them do it. But it's just for their benefit. It's just for the benefit. If you have a fighting dog, if you have a dog that is charging the door, or biting humans, or lunging at people in the house, then that just tells you that you don't have enough control of them in the house. If they feel like they have to take control because you don't, then that's what they'll do. All right. Some dogs can deal with it, but some dogs also want to control their own, safe feeling. So let's do that. We should be the ones doing it, not them. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Feel free to ask. Let's see. Got a few people joining on YouTube. Jeremy Majors here, Majors Academy Dog Training. I feel like I'm Barack Obama because I keep saying, but anyway, this is Thirsty Thursdays, episode 30. If you have any questions, dog training questions, feel free to ask. I've been doing this for about, going on 11 years now. And my specialty, I would say, is dog socialization. I really have a good pack, man. My pack is super awesome. I mean, I've got some really good film of some nervous dogs that come in that have gotten in previous dog fights, and they come in and they meet my pack that is super calm, super mellow, and you know, I prove to people that your dog can get along with other dogs. That's so the sort of the point of the whole thing is, you know, your dog. I show people that the dog has the ability to be around dogs and be playful, be calm, be cool, be loving, and all that stuff without any aggression issues. I've never sent a dog home with any sort of you know, I've always sent them home the same way they've came to me, in the same condition, right? So my dogs know that it's not right to fight. They will walk away. And so that's the other thing maybe people don't understand, is that you can develop an inhibition for the dog to fight. You can actually teach, you know how you teach your kids how to be the bigger man and walk away. You know, you can sort of do that with dogs too. You know, my dogs, even if some dog tries to start something with them, they're not going to engage in a fight. They will walk away. And here's the other big thing. People don't think dogs can listen during a fight, but they can. They can listen when they're in that quote-unquote red zone. They still have a conscience, and they still make choices. And if your dog bites you because they're in a fight, then that shows, to me, that shows a lack of respect for you. First of all, just fighting, choosing to fight, is a lack of respect for you, right? It's like two children fighting in the house. You know, I don't know. The way that I was raised, you know, I would have to answer to my father if I decided to do that with my brother. So it was out of respect for him that we didn't really engage in any fighting. So same thing with dogs. I believe that your dog should not even think it's okay to fight. And then if they bite you in the fight, that's a lack of respect that they have for you. So they shouldn't be trying to bite you, or even accidentally biting you. They shouldn't even be fighting. And when you grab them from fighting, or when they're fighting and you grab them, they should stop because of the respect they have for you. All right? But it's all about the little things too. Now, in addition to the respect, it's all about how much they're allowed to get away with on a day-to-day basis. Are they allowed to get on the couch every day when they want, however they want, when they want? Are they allowed to play in the house whenever they want, however they want? You know, do whatever they, you know? Are they allowed to have bones and allowed to have toys and all the things that they don't need, but they just want because you guys, you know, we tend to spoil them. So those are the things that are all adding up in the decision not to fight, and the decision, or the decision not to fight, or the decision to fight because they don't think it's not worth it. So that was a rant. That was good beer. All right. Do I have any more questions? Let's see. I know that there's other trainers that would be okay with putting a e-collar on a puppy to teach them. But you know, some of the even good e-collar instruction manuals will tell you that it's not teaching. You should not teach a dog on the e-collar. You should proof the dog's commands that the dog already knows with the e-collar, right? So you shouldn't teach a dog how to sit with the e-collar. You shouldn't teach a dog how to down with the e-collar. You shouldn't teach a dog how to come with the e-collar. And you certainly just shouldn't slap an e-collar on a dog just for aggression. It's not what you want. It's fine. She's fine. Man, come here. Come here. Come up here. Here, come here. Say hi to the peoples. Say hi to the peoples. This is Mama. She is how old is she? You stay up here for me.
She's 6.5.
She's about 6.5, and she was one of those controlling. Look, now I get the likes when I put my man in. Everybody likes it. They don't even care what I'm talking about. All right, so now I know how to get fans. All right, so let's talk about Mama for a second. I'm gonna go off on a tangent and talk about Ming. Mama is what they would call a game-bred pit bull. Whenever she sees and or hears a dog squabble, previous to coming to me or being mine, she would want to go and engage. So she would fight if there was any scuffle that broke out, or if there was a fight that broke out. She'd wanna handle the situation. And but boy, has she turned around like a complete 180, man. She now allows me to bring strange dogs, and she can be laying on her back. It's so perfect. She can be laying in the sun, just sunbathing, and decide to just lay there. And you know, I think that helps dogs out so much, man. Being able to experience a dog that's just like, oh, here he comes with another dog. No big deal. I'll just lay here and continue to sunbathe. As opposed to bringing in a dog that, you know, bringing in a fearful dog and then the dog have mama posture or, you know, become insecure. She's super comfortable, and I think it takes the tension away from the dog that may be aggressive or fearful. So she's super awesome with that. The other thing is she doesn't play with dogs. So there's that, you know, there's no need to even, all she does is at the most sniff their genitals, and then she goes about her business. She doesn't play, which is good because play can sometimes bring on nerves as well. You stay. So yeah, she's came a long way. She's definitely the alpha. She's the protector. You know, she definitely will bark if someone knocks on the door. Let me know if someone's there, right? And she's also very pretentious, right, man? All right, go ahead. Let's see. Let me bring Mac. See, you guys can see Mac too. Come here. This is a puppy. He's not actually a puppy, but how old is he now?
Just turned 3.
He's 3 now, and Mac is he's a little younger than the other two, but he's still really cool, really good. He met Luther today, and he didn't meet. Oh, he's walked with Zeus though. We've had some pack walks together, and he is much higher energy than Tobias. He's a little crazy. He knows, super smart, very assertive, but he's more playful than the other two. The other two, so I should say Mama doesn't like Mac too much. They just kind of deal with each other, or he likes her a lot. She doesn't like him. She likes Tobias. Tobias is Mama's like soulmate, and Mac is just annoying. Right, Mac? Right? Go on. It's Mac's turn. So I'll talk a little bit about dog fighting too. A lot of the people that contact me say that their dogs fight, and a lot of it that is sort of similar in every situation is attention. You know, so right now I'm giving Mac attention, and Mama just came up. I showed Mama away because it wouldn't result in a fight in this circumstance, but in a lot of circumstances it would result into a fight. That whole jealousy issue thing, a lot of dogs definitely struggle with that attention craving. But I pet my dogs one at a time, and when I'm petting one at a time and another one comes up, I just tell them to go on, to move on, and that usually works. All right, because I don't want to be breaking up a fight. That's not good. So Anyway, those of you who just joined YouTube, Facebook, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. We're going to be here for another 35 minutes. I got one more beer to drink, and that's about it. What are you doing? Stay. Good boy. Here's something that I'll show you that I like to do with all of my dogs. So I know that, you know, every dog has to go to a vet, and this is something you can practice with your dog, but I like to be able to hold their muzzle, and I like to tell them to stay, and I like for them to stop moving. Because again, I want to be able to have control with them if they're getting a vet examination. I want them to be able to know that they can trust me just holding them. And so I'll do a little bit of time of just holding their nostrils and telling them to stay, and they should stay. Good boy. So yeah, work on that. A lot of dogs that come to me cannot deal with that, and that's an important skill to have. So, all right, sweet boy. Do I have any questions? Oh, all right. Well, cheers. Ugh, you just farted. Oh, you gotta go. You just farted. Go on. Go on, go on, go on. Go on, boy. Go on. Alright. Well, if we don't have any other questions, we have a dog that wants to be, my neighbor just asked me, hey, Burnett, whoa, I'm seeing all these questions, Alyssa.
I don't see any of them.
Hold on, man, what's going on?
I don't see any questions.
Uh-oh.
The last thing I see
What?
is wine.
Wine?
From Rachel. What are you drinking? Wine.
Oh, drinking wine. Oh, Burnett commented, I didn't see it. Let's see. Cheers, Burnett. There's another one. You're missing all these.
Don't see them. They're not coming up on mine.
All right, hold on. Oh crap! I just missed a question. Let's see. Could you on YouTube please retype that question? It just disappeared on me. Please type that question again. I'm sorry. I have an Australian Shepherd. There we go. 4 years old. Was going to a daycare with many dogs. Then he was attacked. Since the time, whoa, disappeared. Where'd it go? Damn it. All right, well, I'll go to another question. I'm sorry. Hi, Jeremy. I commented a few days ago on your video post. I believe you had Zeus in a calm state with loose dogs in the area. I made a statement about wanting to get my dog to be able to do that. I know I need training, as we, let's see, it only lets me see half of the question. I believe you had Zeus in a calm state with loose dogs in the area. I made a statement about wanting to get my dog to be able to do that. I know I need training as well in order for that to happen. You stated you could recommend someone in Atlanta. Oh, that's right. All right, so the guy that I recommend is named Josh Donahue, and the company is Argos Dogworks, ARGOS Dogworks, and he would definitely be able to help you achieve sort of similar results. How do you get a dog to relax in the car? She pants and freaks out. So I'm seeing a lot of this, and listen, this whole car thing, to the wrong dog who is sort of a nervous dog, you know, too much too soon I think can really cause crazy anxiety in dogs. So it's very recommended that you start with a crate in the car. Okay, so it only just provides more stability for the dog in the car. And then you can, as the dog gets older and is used to the sounds of whatever it's going to be hearing, then you can start to maybe have the dog out of the crate. But these fast cars, the big trucks that they're seeing, and the unstable movement of the car, and sometimes it can be too much for a dog, especially if they are any sort of herding dog. Anyway, how to help that is to give your dog a job to do, period. I mean, it's as simple as that. I make my dogs lay down if they're stressed, and anytime, doesn't matter what's going on. If my dogs are stressed or nervous or whatever, I'm giving them something to do especially if they don't need to be nervous or stressed. They need to be relaxed. So in the car, it should be your goal to get a relaxed dog. And so I would give that dog a job to do, okay? So that may mean you have to keep the leash on in the car so that you can put the dog in a down. But take control of the situation. Anywhere, doesn't matter if it's the car, house, wherever. Anywhere where the dog is nervous or a nervous wreck or anything that it shouldn't be, then that means you just have to add structure in that environment in order to help the dog see what exactly you want them to see. All right? Thank you for your question. All right. Would you recommend a doggy don't for a dog like Porter? No. First and foremost, I would recommend good training for Porter, which is what we're doing, and then I'll see what's necessary. Because pet convincer might work, which you guys are gonna get, which you guys already have. So I think the pet convincer will work just fine. So we'll let you know at the end of the training, though. All right. Our 3-year-old boxer mix Josie will bark and get all worked up while we're walking and tries to move toward the other dog. We started her in daycare and she's completely different. She's very calm and quiet and won't engage in any other dogs, even just to play. Should we just give her more time, or is more stressful than helpful? Or is more time or is more stressful than... Okay, so Shane, walking your dog and dog daycare are two different things. And if she's shy at daycare, it's because you just started daycare. But they're unrelated. One, you're on leash. The other, she's off leash. One, she has more control. The other, she has no control. Right? So if a dog comes up to the dog on the walk, the dog can't flee. The dog has to do what it needs to do in order to get that unwanted pressure away, which is to lash out. In a dog daycare, when it's free to move around, move out and about, the dog can easily choose to walk away from something that makes the dog uncomfortable. So two different scenarios. There are plenty of dogs that get along with a bunch of dogs in dog daycare, dog park. The moment you put the leash on, though, because you are taking their ability away, one option away to walk away, then they turn into different dogs. So that's what you're dealing with. It's just two different scenarios. But what you can do to help the walking thing is to add more structure on the walk, all right? I have a YouTube video on, lay down. I have a YouTube video on how to walk a dog, and it'll help with leash reactivity, okay? So my YouTube channel is Majors Academy Dog Training and Rehabilitation. And of course it's free. Okay, thank you for your question. All right. Let's see. Just tuned in. How do you deal with leash aggression? I've tried choke collars, pinch collar, gentle leaders. He just panics and starts flipping out and chomps anything in sight. Off leash, he's fine. Loves to play with other dogs at the dog park. Okay, I just talked about this. But okay, so if you've tried all those things, I would see a professional, because you may be doing something. the professional may tweak something that you're doing or not doing to help with that situation. All right. Make sure this though, Heidi. If what I want to tell you is make sure you're giving your dog enough space. So I will always cross the street. I will always, if it's too much, then I may turn the other direction. But if I see an out of control dog and I'm walking my dogs, I'm definitely going to cross the street or go the other way. I'm not going to put my dogs in that sort of situation. Okay, it's just too much of a risk, and then we could end up backpedaling with the progress that we've made so far. So I would go ahead and make sure your dog has enough space, and you know, so that you can, you know, sort of work on that from a distance. Okay, so it could be a bunch of things though. I mean, choke collars, don't work with that. Gentle leaders, but the prong collar, make sure you're fitting it right, make sure you're using it right, make sure you're using it consistently, and make sure the dog can heel by your side with loose leash. If your dog can do that, you might have a much better time. Dog shouldn't be out in front of you. The dog should be by your side, parallel to your hip or to your knee. Okay. Thank you for your question. I appreciate it. Drink time. What are you drinking? Oh, that doesn't look good. All right, I know Josh and he knows Piper. I was definitely going to set up an appointment with him, but I wanted to know who you're recommending as well. Oh, sweet. Yeah, he's a good guy. He'll take care of you. All right. So for boarding and training, you would keep my GSD with your pack at your home. She is not crate trained. High energy, plays rough, loves her ball. Yes, I would crate train her. She would be with my pack, and she would get trained. All of the above. You're welcome. Let's see, did I miss something? We had our... Make sure this, though, I have 2 cats and my dog seems to always annoy and bother one that doesn't like her as much. If your dog bothers your cats, that just means you have to take more control of your cats. I've had plenty of clients whose cats avoid their dogs until the training is implemented. Then the cats come out and engage more. The cats actually need to see that the dog can be controlled, and once you have control over your dog, then the cat is more willing to come out, interact, and all that stuff. So if your cat's sort of apprehensive about what goes on as far as your dog, just take control of the dog. So for example, if I have my dogs in the bed and I'm introducing them to a cat, to another dog, to my baby, and if they know how to stay on that bed, all that then becomes a lot easier to deal with. The transition of getting to know all those strange things becomes that much easier because I've taken control of it. And once you do that, once you say go to your bed and they have to do that, then that actually tells them that what their impulse may be is sort of null and void, right? So if I have a baby in my hands, or if I have a cat and they're right there and they're staying on their bed, excuse me, that impulse of trying to investigate and see what it is, or try to, in some cases, try to attack and see what it is. You know, some dogs just go for the attack. They lose that because you've taken control of the situation. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as when people walk in and some dogs charge the door, right? But if they have that go to your bed command very, very solid, they lose the need to take control of the situation because you have. So if your cats are apprehensive about coming out because your dog torments them, for the cat's sake, Jesus, take control of your dogs. All right? Thank you for your question. Sorry to use the Lord's name in vain. We don't have any. Okay. All right. have an Aussie fear aggression issues after being attacked at dog daycare. I have had him in agility, working constant obedience, and I manage him the best I can. Any suggestions? Yes. Thank you for typing your question again. I'm sorry I didn't get to it the first time. So if you have a dog that is apprehensive about dogs because it's been attacked at dog daycare, I would first and foremost not go back to that dog daycare, because that dog daycare doesn't know what the hell it's doing. And there are, you know, all dog daycares are not created equal. So maybe do your research as far as finding a dog daycare that at least has some level of retention or knowledge about how to introduce dogs to other dogs. But what you need to do is bring your dog around dogs that are balanced, that are social, that are you know, secure. If you bring your dogs around, I removed him immediately from the dog daycare. Good. That comes out when they're fine, but if he's not right there, she'll poke, lick, blah, 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 blah. I'll get to your question right after I answer this. So yeah, definitely remove the dog from the dog daycare. Good. But again, the dog needs to be around dogs that are balanced. The dog needs to be around, you know, experienced dogs that are not young adolescents, you know, and or someone. Or it just needs to be around. So for example, if you can't find dogs that are balanced, you just need to have to be there for the dog, right? So if I'm in the yard with my dogs, I can take the pressure off of any dog that may need some space. But the problem is when we're there and we don't do anything about it, then the dog has to do something about it when it becomes uncomfortable. But if we can say, shoo away, the dog's getting uncomfortable, then that's how you advocate for your dog. And that's what the dog daycare didn't do. So that's what I would do. That sounded like a lot, but you have to get your dog around balanced dogs, or you have to, if you are around dogs, you have to have the ability to verbally stop the dogs from doing what they're doing at a moment's notice in order to make it a great experience for your dog. And the more great experiences and the more relationships your dog can have with other dogs, the more accepting of other new dogs it will be. All right, thanks for your question. All right, guys, those of you who just joined, I know we just got some more. Ask some questions if you have any. Cheers if you're drinking. And we're here for another 7 minutes. Goose Festivity Ale. Man, I should have got this during Christmas. This looks like a Christmas beer. Look at that. Look at it. Respect it. So I've been talking about a lot of car dogs lately. I see a lot of dogs stressed out in the car. Get these dogs in a crate. First of all, it's safer. But second of all, the dog will know how to deal with that anxiety much better if it's in a crate. I know you may not have a car or a vehicle that is equipped for that stuff, but getting your dog in a crate is a much better way to deal with a dog that may freak out about all of the, you know, a lot of dogs just get excited to get out of the car once they're in it because they think they're, you know, at a dog park or something like that. So it's tough. My dogs definitely get excited to go somewhere. But once they're in there, you know, they sort of just relax, and that's what you want. All right. So keep it random though too. When you arrive somewhere, shut the car off and look at Facebook or do something. Just don't right away let them out because they're probably excited. And then when you do that, you're just reinforcing that excitement. So do something other than what exactly they want, right? Wait until they're calm to get out then, and then let them out. I do manage him with other dogs. Agility is helping. I've used a pinch collar walks and lunches on barks. He also barks in the car, the 4-year-old Aussie. All right, well that's good. I think agility, anything around dogs that's controlled will work. I'm not going to say it's the best, but yeah, anything is going to be beneficial to have your dog with you, gaining trust and around other dogs. We had, was it dog aggressive? No, it was human aggressive. So the last Aussie I had was human aggressive, not dog aggressive. His name was Bilbo. No, he was dog aggressive. He was getting into squabbles with the other resident dog. So, but Bilbo turned out really well. All right. Thank you for your question. Let's see what time it is. Dame Salon. Oh, this is your phone. We will be in Milwaukee this weekend. And I don't know if I'll have time to do any dog training, but we'll be in Milwaukee this weekend. And I know that there's a lot of dog-friendly places. So if you are in Milwaukee and you happen to be downtown, give me a holler. I'd love to pet your dog and ruin it for you. Thank you for that. Pepper whines when I stop the car. I'll hang out for a bit and wait for her to calm down before I let her out. That's perfect. You want to know why? Because then you're teaching your dog, when it's calm, it gets exactly what it wants, right? As opposed to whining. We cannot allow the dog to move forward when it's whining. Otherwise, we're just going to tell the dog that worked for you. Go ahead and try it again. But that's annoying. And so calm behavior, if it's reinforced, sometimes it's going to take some time to get there though, and it will test your patience. But if you can enforce that, and it's tough because we so condition them to we think it's happiness, we think it's eagerness, and we want to feed into that happiness, and we want to feed into their neediness. But at the end of the day, it should be our approach that calmness gets you everything, and that other stuff doesn't get you what you want. But sometimes reconditioning that does take time. So, Dozer is not ready for downtown Milwaukee yet. We gotta get up by you for a pack walk. Bring Dozer. I'll hang out with Dozer. You can go home. I'll hang out with Dozer. I'll put a vest on him and we can go anywhere we want. I love that dog. I'll get him under control. Actually, we wouldn't have to worry about people coming up and petting Dozer because he's not the got another question. Asking for a dog friend. How would you handle excessive stress? Drooling in the car. Same thing I would sort of address anything in the car, any sort of stress, any sort of anxiety in the car. You have to give that dog something else to think about. Lay down. Be calm. If you actually give the dog something he has to do, he can't dive into what he feels he needs to do, or the feeling that is coming to him because of being in the car. So being in the car stresses the dog out, right? But if you tell that dog something he has to do, it sort of takes his mind off of it, or at least there's a side of that anxiety that is occupied with what he has to do, which is to lay down. So I would give that dog a job to do, and the drooling will stop because the stress will dwindle away if the dog has something else to think about that he has to do. But if the dog doesn't take the person serious, it's like, I'm not listening to you, then it's free to feel how it wants to feel or how it feels it has to feel, if that makes sense, right? So if the dog doesn't believe you that you will be consistent with anything, then whatever's stressing them out is going to continue to stress them out. But now if they have to listen to you, they got to be like, oh man, she's going to put me back in the down. Well, then it's not thinking about what's stressing them out. See what I'm saying? So he would not terrorize nothing. I tell you what, I'd have that dog underneath the table at a restaurant. Nobody would even know he was there. I promise you that. Bring him up. Okay. All right, guys. It's 7 o'clock. I'm going to get something to eat now. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys for the thumbs up, for the hearts. I noticed I got the most interactions when I brought my puppy up, so maybe I should do that more often. You guys don't like to hear me talk. You guys just like to see my dogs. All right, cool. Whatever. But anyway, we'll see you guys next Thursday. Same time, same place. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate all of the questions. We'll see you next time. Okay, bye.